So I'm joined by Sabrina and Ahmed. How are you both doing?
Yeah, good, thank you, Will. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Yeah. Perhaps we can kick things off by you introducing yourselves and just saying a little bit about how you ended up creating Envaluate.
Yeah, great. Maybe I can start. Thanks for having us on, Will. So yeah, I guess a bit about us. I'm Ahmed, co-founder at Envaluate, and joined by Sabrina, who's also my co-founder. So our story is that we actually met at the University of Warwick, where we both studied statistics. During that time, I guess we built up quite an interest for data science. We then both went on into the world of sustainable finance in slightly different directions. Sabrina went off to become a trader at Citi, where she became quite involved in ESG. I went off to become a consultant advising renewable energy companies on their risk management strategies. A few years later, we then kind of came back together. We merged our interest in data science, our experience in sustainable finance, and we formed Envaluate, and here we are now.
Amazing. So perhaps you say a little bit about what Envaluate is and does and how it kind of consolidates this fascination with sustainable finance.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Envaluate, what we're doing is building technology that helps consumers to measure their carbon footprint. So it's really bridging the gap between these two areas Ahmed kind of mentioned that we're interested in, which is sustainability and data. And the problem that we're really solving is a consumer problem. It's the fact that 70% of adults in the UK are concerned about climate change, yet people often feel very overwhelmed and unsure what actions to take. So although sustainability is starting to influence household purchase decisions more and more, there lacks kind of holistic data on your own environmental impact. So we're really focusing on the data side of things.
Cool. And perhaps you can maybe sum up the impact that filling this data gap can have on both consumers and the world in general.
Absolutely. So in terms of impact, we're kind of focused on two main things. One is the education aspect of understanding, environmental impact. So overall, our mission is really for people to start to vote with their pounds. So the end goal is, you'll be shopping in Tesco's and understanding the carbon footprint of an item will be as much of a significant factor in that purchase decision, perhaps, as price will be. So that's kind of the end goal, and how we achieve it is also through emission reduction. So the nice thing about our product is that we're really focused on quantifying the impacts. So it means that we can kind of directly measure the emissions reductions that we cause based on providing people with this data.
That's great. And perhaps just to kind of flesh out the product a bit and talk about gathering this data, as you say, this end goal being, like understanding the carbon impact of, say, each item you're shopping. Where are you sourcing this from? Like, what's the methodology for collecting this?
Absolutely. So a little bit about our technology. There are some carbon calculators that exist online that some people use, but they're often not very automated and quite input heavy. So we found that the best way to really paint an accurate picture of someone's lifestyle is through their spending habits, kind of on the premise that money touches everything. So what we do at Envaluate is leverage open banking technology, which means that we allow users to log into their bank account, and then we estimate a carbon footprint for each transaction that they make, and we can provide kind of scores and analytics based on that. So for example, we'll show a monthly carbon footprint so that you can track your emissions over time, and then we'll also show what we call kind of Monzo style analytics. For example, how you compare versus UK averages and sector breakdowns as well. So your emissions in food and your emissions in travel. And it's really coming back to this holistic understanding as well. So, not taking a flight for the rest of your life is something that's going to be unrealistic to most of us. Whereas if you can kind of see the impact of your overall lifestyle, it means that you can start to incorporate that into your decision making and start to lead kind of greener lives.
Amazing. I think speaking of technology, it's kind of phasing in and out of it, so hopefully we'll keep it a little.
Apologies, technical difficulties.
Perhaps between you can just share a little bit about, well, I suppose the story of Envaluate, like what kind of milestones you hit along the way to where you are, and then what's it looking like next? What are your priorities and all that?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can touch on that. So yeah, at the moment where we are now, we're building our technology. We're in conversations with 3 UK banks at the moment. We've actually just been accepted onto an accelerator with a large UK retail bank. We're also in conversations with some academic institutions, and we're really hoping that that will kind of push our data offering forward a bit. In terms of the future, where we're hoping to get to, I guess really trying to cement those relationships with academic institutions through partnerships, etc. And then also cement our relationships with banks. We're hoping to start off with some pilots with banks, and I guess doing that with the goal of wide scale rollout in the future. So yeah, I guess that's kind of where we are at the moment and where we're hoping to get to.
And maybe just to add to that, we probably should have mentioned that we are hoping to sell our product through an API to the bank. So instead of developing a consumer-facing product, because there's kind of more and more demand, and the competitive space is getting quite crowded, but we feel as though in order to achieve kind of real climate impact and roll this product out to as many people as possible, we'd like to see it featured in existing UK retail banks in their mobile banks. So we're focusing on an API so that it's kind of the most flexible solution possible, and banks can then roll it out to their customers as they see fit. It kind of reduces as well the inaccessibility that's often a problem for sustainable products. As most people are probably aware, middle class tend to find it easier to make sustainable purchase decisions because there's a premium attached to greener choices, whereas we kind of believe that everyone needs to be engaged, and rolling it out via banks increases that likelihood of kind of removing that wealth inequality.
Amazing. It seems like really exciting road ahead, and obviously both myself and I'm sure a lot of people want to see Envaluate become a success. How can people best learn about the work you're doing, keep up to date, and ideally, help if there's anything that can be supported?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if anyone's kind of interested in getting in touch in any way, if there is a kind of business that would like to work together in some sort of capacity, if you'd just like to have an informal chat with us, feel free to reach out to kind of either myself or Sabrina on LinkedIn. So Ahmed Babiker or Sabrina Gill on LinkedIn, or if you just like to keep in touch and understand what we're doing as time goes on, you can join our community on our website, and you can reach us on www.envaluate.co.uk.
And just to add to that, the best way to kind of get monthly updates with what we're doing is definitely reaching out to sign up to our community on the website. And we'll also on the lookout for people to help with user research and also testing the technology. So one thing that we're quite interested in doing is examining the kind of behavior change that we can create through the technology. So we're looking for testers to put into groups to use the product and kind of model the emission reductions over time. So that could be available to anyone of interest if you sign up.
Cool. Well, brilliant. Sabrina, Ahmed, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you so much for sharing what you're working on.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Great.